Hello, everyone.
Okay, so today we are talking about Metro 2033. Now, to start off, I really enjoyed this game, more so than I was expecting. I expected it just to be some sort of old first-person shooter, but it was much more than that. Simply put, comparing it to your average older first-person shooter is doing it a disservice. My first assumptions before going into the game were completely wrong, which they have been before. Now, I want to preface again that I didn't know anything going into this game. The only thing that I knew was that it was the first one in the series. That's it. Everything else I just learned by playing it. But what I mean saying that it would be a disservice to compare it to just an old first-person shooter, say COD for example. COD makes you feel like a protag in an action movie. You know, bam bam, shooty bang bang, explosions, and you're not looking at them because you're a cool guy. And all the enemies lose and the good guys win. Metro 2033 is not like that at all. In fact, it didn't really make me feel like a protagonist. It made me feel like I was the protagonist, but only because I was the main perspective that the game took place in. And the way it made me feel like I wasn't the protagonist was because of how many ways there are to just flat out die, and how easy it was to die. There are traps around everywhere, pitfalls, kinda everything. I can't really name them all in one little section, but I would find myself dying to a lot. And it really set the mood for me as a player. There is one specific thing that I really enjoyed while going through this. While going through, at the very beginning, you're just, in the metro tunnels. And it's all cozy, and it really makes you feel not exactly safe, but it feels like home. Somewhere familiar. But throughout the game, you're kind of forced to leave. And in the beginning half of the game, you're sneaking around, getting around engagements, and other things that you don't have to specifically fight in as you go deeper and deeper into enemy territory. The second half of the game is where I really saw this perspective shine. Because as you began getting deeper and deeper into enemy territory, there were fewer and fewer instances where you could skip conflict, or sneak around it, or not have to fight. Being forced to fight in that instance because you were so deep into enemy territory and there was just no way around it really set the mood for me, and I became extremely immersed in this story. I could feel the changes that the character had to go through, leaving their home, leaving areas that they were comfortable with, and delving into dangerous spots where they were forced to fight. I felt that. And what really helped in that aspect of me feeling the game was the ambiance. Every place you go into, you really feel what the game developers were trying to evoke in your emotions. At one point, you're in a cozy, home-like area. People are talking, generally having fun. There is slight panic in the words as you walk through, and you begin listening to them. So the tension is already rising from what you hear from the crowds walking through. And in another instance, you walk into a room with lots of dead monsters, a kid crying over a corpse, more specifically, a family member's. They traded their lives to protect the kid, and in the game, you actually take the kid and you save him. It was very good at setting the mood and knew exactly what to do with the tension that it built up, and I really enjoyed that. It is definitely a welcomed change from the protag action movie games like COD that have been playing recently. and I'm so glad I got into this series. Now, what did I not like? Is there anything specific I really didn't enjoy? Well, in the beginning, there was kind of slight jank to its control scheme, but I really got used to it. There was one instance, or a couple of instances, in the game that, aren't completely obvious on, what to do. More specifically, where to go or whatever. And you just kind of have to guess. You do have your compass, but it really doesn't help all that much. Or maybe I'm just dumb and I get lost all the time. But I remember one instance where I specifically got frustrated. Essentially in the game, you'll eventually come upon this one room where it doesn't really seem like there's anything in it, except for a few corpses with ammo and maybe a med kit or something, I don't remember. But me being the big smooth brain that I am, failed to look up. Now while you're in this room, you're supposed to open a door and find a way to open a locked door, because you're on the other side of it. Now, the way to open this door is to look up and realize that there's a chandelier stuck in a kind of way that it can swing and hit the door. And you're supposed to shoot it. I didn't look up for a while, and I didn't realize the chandelier was there. So I got frustrated, because smooth brain, But eventually, after reloading the last checkpoint and going back in the room, giving it a closer look, I eventually did look up because I noticed a creaking metal sound, which I thought was just ambiance the first time I was in that room, but it actually means something. It's supposed to signify that the chandelier's there, so you can shoot it, and it can, do its job. But again, I didn't realize that. But that's the only thing I specifically disliked. There's nothing else that I really specifically disliked, because I liked basically all the game had to offer. Everything about it was just fun. Now, would I recommend this game to others? Of course, yes. Seeing as there's one instance that I didn't like or got frustrated with, of course I would recommend this to others. I would just keep a watchful eye out for older game mechanics, specifically just older tropes. If you haven't played older games and aren't familiar with older tropes, it may be a little bit more difficult to go through because of that. But if you are familiar with them, then definitely go through them, especially if you haven't. I never played the game. I didn't know anything about this game. I knew nothing. I went in completely blind. I just thought it would be neat to go through it. And, well, I'm glad I did. It's great. It was so great, I even got the second and third game. And I got the third game's DLC, which I will be going through on this channel. So, be expecting that. But overall, with the question, yes, I'd recommend it. Quite a lot, actually. But now that I've answered my questions here, and I've given my opinion, it is now the part of the video where I thank you. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate that you're here. You could be literally anywhere else, but you chose to spend your time here and listen to me, and I appreciate that. I also want you to know that I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you do and what you are, the decisions you make, everything. I hope you're also having a good day, night, or whenever else you are listening to this. And once again, I'm happy that you stopped by. So, thank you. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Goodbye.